You're listening to Untarnished Moments, the podcast that helps you shine through life challenges and move past self-defeat into victory. I'm your host, Donna Cherie. Let's get into today's show. What's up, everybody? It's Coach Donna Cherie, and welcome back to another episode of Untarnished Moments. Today, we have the pleasure of sitting down with Miss Airelle Harley of Southern Throne Boutique. Airelle, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
So, we're going to jump right into it. Airelle, she is the owner, CEO of Southern Throne Boutique. She is based in Alabama, but she is an online boutique. So, Airelle, you started your business as a t-shirt shop. What initially got you started?
So in 2019, I was planning my wedding. So I got married in June of 2019. And prior to planning my wedding, I was really inspired by a lot of things that I saw on Pinterest and Etsy and just the internet in general. And during that time, I wasn't able to source anyone to make the things that I really wanted to bring my vision to life for my wedding. So I started making things. I've always been very creative and I've always been into graphic design. Since I was a kid, I've been designing invitations and things like that. But as I grew into a young lady and into entering into the workforce, I really didn't have an opportunity to have that creative outlet that I had as a kid. So my wedding was a perfect opportunity and I dove right into it. I took that opportunity to just do as much handmade things as I could just because I thought it was fun. I don't think my husband or my fiance, I guess he was at the time, thought it was fun, but I went full force into just making things. So I purchased a lot of craft equipment, and one of those pieces of equipment was a Cricut, so a vinyl cutting machine. And with that, I just started making little fun things here and there. I was making a lot of signs at first, and then I probably made my first t-shirt when we were planning my bachelorette party. So I went to Vegas for my bachelorette party. And of course, girls in Vegas always have like the matching t-shirts on. So I was like, hey, I can make that. And I told my sister, who was the maid of honor, that, and she was like, okay, if you think you can, you can. And I ended up making, I think it was a group of 6 of us. I made 3 shirts each for us and custom bags as well as koozies. So from there, I had developed an entire product line, which I was so excited about and so proud of. And I still have some of those pieces. But that really is what jump-started my desire to have a business, because everybody complimented me on how good I did on making those items. And then as I continued to wear some of those pieces when I got back home, people would ask me about them. And I just went from there. I took a leap of faith and decided to go get my business license, start a business bank account, and open up an Etsy shop. And that was in April of 2019.
Oh, wow. Wow. So you went full-fledged in. That is super cool and just so exciting, to start doing something that you love or that you always had as a passion from childhood. After that, once you got your business license and all that, what was kind of the next step that you took?
So I definitely didn't have any idea what I was doing. I walked into it blindly. I definitely come from an entrepreneurial family. So my parents have been entrepreneurs almost all of my life. They've been in the real estate investment industry for, I guess, 30 plus years. So I always knew that it was possible for other people, to own their business, because I saw them doing it growing up. And I knew it was hard work, but I had no clue how to really enter into the handmade space, because it's a very saturated industry for sure. But entering into it and knowing what the first steps were, I was very confused. So my business, my background is in business. So I knew I needed to get, all the ducks in a row, get my EIN number, get my business license, trademark my name, do all these things. So I understood that side of it, but I did not know how to move forward. And I really didn't even know how to use Etsy as a platform. I of course know how to work a computer because I was doing graphics and things like that. But Etsy was a whole new monster for me to tackle. So I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't make my first sale probably until October of 2019. So my first like Etsy sale, I had made sales from friends and family, but like my first sale online from someone I didn't know was in October of 2019. And when I got that, that like really motivated me that something that I made was something that it inspired someone else to actually purchase it blindly for me, especially from an Etsy shop with zero reviews, zero likes, zero traffic, zero
Mm-hmm.
purchase history. So that really is what got the ball rolling for me. And then once I got that first purchase, I remember I was on vacation at the time and I got the first purchase. I was so excited. And as soon as I got back home, I was motivated to get started. So I signed up for my first craft show, and the rest is really history from there. Those were my first steps, just being passionate about something and then putting the energy and effort into it and reaping what I sowed. So someone else came and bought my item and it got me really excited, and I was ready to go from there.
That's fantastic. And then now, so since you started in 2019, your business has evolved. You mentioned that you had started off making handmade knit t-shirt or t-shirt shop into a full service women's wholesale and retail boutique. And what led you to that?
So the first step from where I started was as soon as I made a few t-shirts, and this was in 2019, so pre-pandemic. In 2019, I Christmas time rolled around and people started wanting to buy bulk items. So maybe 3 items here, 5 items there. And then the pandemic happened. So everyone, like we fast forward a few months, the pandemic happened and everybody was stuck at home. People were buying things online. I was constantly getting Etsy orders. It was really, really exciting, actually. The pandemic is really what I think exploded my Etsy business and my handmade shop and my t-shirt business. But I started getting bigger and bigger orders to the point where I realized, hey, I should start marketing my products to small businesses to see if they would like to get a price break, essentially wholesaling t-shirts to them. And the people just started rolling in. Social media was a big part of that. Facebook primarily. I was on there, I need somebody to make 15 t-shirts. I need somebody to make 20 t-shirts, or a family reunion is saying, hey, I need 50 t-shirts made because we're having a virtual family reunion. And I would definitely have try to be the first one to respond on those posts. And then I also had my credibility because my Etsy shop had been growing and I had several reviews at that time. I had a few hundred people that had purchased from me. So I had my credibility behind me. And that's what got me to the point of wholesaling. And once I got my credibility, I was able to apply to be a wholesaler on several US wholesale platforms. So that's how I started the wholesale side of my business. I will say, honestly, when I started my business, I thought it would have been nice to become a boutique. So I put that name in my name, Southern Throne Boutique, when I created the business. I've always had that name. But I never envisioned that I would be a full service women's boutique offering like sizes small through 3X. Like I never thought that that was something that would happen so quickly for me. But thanks to the pandemic, I was really able to just expand because of a need from my customers. So on several occasions, I would meet women and they would say, hey, do you have, jeans to go with this? Do you have accessories to go with this? Oh, I would love to have a pair of earrings that matches this shirt. So things like that. And I just have slowly added inventory to my website and going from there. So I transitioned, I guess I should say that I transitioned from Etsy, although I'm still in that platform, but I transitioned to also having my own website, which allowed me to expand to non-handmade items. So that was really a big turn and a shift for my business. And it allowed me to just grow from there.
That's awesome. And you've done so much since that time. And I have shopped on Southern Throne Boutique, and I just love the items, the quality that you provide, and the things that you look for to really target the women who are interested in purchasing. So kudos for that.
Thank you.
And I know from shopping with Southern Throne that one of the things that you talk about or seems like you care about a lot is inclusive sizing. And I just want you to talk a little bit about what that means to you and what does that consist of?
So I will say, I have always been a tall person. I remember kindergarten, I was almost the same height as my kindergarten teacher. So I've always been taller than average, and probably in middle school I stopped growing at some point. So I'm only 5'7", so I'm not a giant. But I remember being taller than everyone else and not necessarily being able to shop in some of the places that my peers could shop at because I was tall and they were still, under 5 feet, and I was over 5 feet at these ages. So I remember that feeling as a kid and not being able to shop at like limited to, I can remember that like specifically that store, because it was for girls' clothes and I was too tall for those clothing, for that clothing. And then I remember transitioning to adolescence and adulthood, and I've always been super curvy. And I've always lived in Alabama. So there's definitely a style and a culture that comes with Alabama. And being born and raised here, it definitely influences my style and the person that I am. So it was always very discouraging, and it still is to this day, to walk into a store, love something, and it is not offered in my size. It's not that my size is sold out, but it's not offered in my size. Many women face that every single day. And I don't think as women, we should have to have another discriminatory factor in just shopping. It's already bad enough that we have dresses without pockets, which if you shop at Southern Throne, you'll know we have dresses with pockets, but it's already hard enough to shop. So why make it even harder by limiting ourselves? So I make a point to ensure that I go all the way up to size 3X, true to size clothing, and clothing that women actually want to wear, that make them feel beautiful, that make them feel confident. And I always say, I give women the opportunity to dress for the body that they have versus the body that they had. There's no need for us to live in the past or worry about how we used to look or what we used to wear. Today is today. It's a new day. We need to feel beautiful. We need to feel confident. So let's dress for the body that we have, not the body that we had.
So true. And I'm 5'7" as well, so I know the struggle. And I'm a little bit longer in my legs than the rest of part of my body. So like all throughout my life, it's been hard to find pants that actually go all the way down to my ankles.
Yes.
And that could be so frustrating at times. So I love just the idea, and I believe that's part of your mission as far as inclusive sizing. So that's a great thing. How do you keep up with the latest fashion trends as a boutique
So
owner?
So trends, especially nowadays because of the internet, and I say nowadays like I'm really that much older than the internet, but I, I feel like trends are constantly changing and that fashion is what you make it. So even probably 10 or 15 years ago, fashion was very structured, in my opinion, where it was like, this is in, this is out. You can only wear these colors, you can't wear these colors, things like that. But now people are wearing what they want to wear, and they're wearing what makes them happy, and they're wearing what looks good on them, feels good on them. So of course, I do indulge in all of the fashion magazines. I definitely love to scroll the internet, all the social media platforms, Pinterest for sure, and see what everybody else is wearing. But I think fashion now is more of something that is individualized. So it it makes up the identity of a person. So and there's so many choices. That's the thing. It's so many choices out there, and there's a place for everyone. So being a boutique owner, I know that my Southern fashion may not be for every woman in America, and that's totally fine. And I also know that although I offer size inclusivity within my sizing, those sizes still may not accommodate some women, and that is okay. And knowing that as a boutique owner and coming to terms with that, and loving the customers that I have is really just my goal. So really the internet is number one source for getting an idea of what's going on in fashion, but also looking internally and almost looking into like your DNA to see what you think looks good on you. For me personally, I grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s. So the early 2000s is like the prime of my life. So I love looking back to that point in my life and see what I was wearing and continuing to wear those things that people say went out of style, but now they're back in style. But I loved it anyway, so I should have never like stopped wearing my platform shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and even like right now, there's so much that I see in the stores as far as like fashion come back from the 90s and early 2000s. I'm like, gosh, I wore that when I was in middle school, but
Yes,
it's
I
really
still
cool
want to
though.
wear it. I still want to wear
Yeah,
it. I'm like, I don't have to give it up.
that's right. So, if a woman is looking to build her wardrobe, what are some things that she should consider?
So, first of all, I think that women should have staple items in their closet. So, I'm all about fun pieces, but until you have those staples, you really shouldn't branch out too much. And when I refer to staples, I'm talking about solids. So, items that are solid pieces that are neutrals in color, like a black, brown, navy, gray, things like that. And that would be basic dress pant, basic tank tops, black, like a black dress. So having staple items in your closet is definitely a place to start when you're trying to build a wardrobe. If you're starting completely from scratch, or a lot of times I see women that are transitioning to the workforce. So they're either changing the job or the place in their life that they are. So they want to dress differently, or they are young and they may be 25 years old and they're moving more into a managerial role at work and they need to look a little bit more professional. So I really think in starting a wardrobe from scratch, it's probably best to start with staple pieces, and building what is called a capsule wardrobe. So that's solid neutral color items that can all be paired together in multiple different ways to change up the look. So white button down shirts, black pants, black dress, things like that. And to add a little bit of personality to it, especially when you're just starting out with your wardrobe, you use accessories to make it yourself. So adding fun earrings, adding a hat if appropriate for where you're going, adding a pop of color in your shoes, or a belt for accessories.
Okay, okay. And I hope that somebody looks in their closet and see, if they have those staple items on hand. I know I still need to get a few things because I'm always giving something away because it's too small, or I'm like, I don't want to wear that anymore. So I'm still building up my staples in my closet myself.
And I think a lot of people, especially coming out of the pandemic, a lot of our staples, it's time to refresh them. May they be too small because we gained weight due to sitting around so much. I know I definitely have. Or they may just be worn, overly worn. But a rule of thumb that I try to remember is that when I buy something, I want to make sure it's quality. And when I say quality, I want to make sure that I can wear it at a minimum of 10 times. So if I cannot wear a white button down, for example, like I think that the material's too thin or it's going to shrink, or if it is just poor quality in general and I can't get 10 like solid washes and wears out of it, you probably don't need to buy it as a staple, because your staples you want to be the foundation of your wardrobe. You don't want it to be something that you'll have to continue to buy over and over and over again. So sometimes it's best to invest maybe even 10 more dollars into something, just because you know that it will last a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's good advice. Well, how can a woman, once she does buy her staple items and she has things in her closet, what are some ways that she can feel confident in her clothes?
So definitely the first thing out of everything else is to make sure that your clothing fits. Many times we're trying to hang on to something and we know we've gained a little bit of weight. I know we talked about that a little bit, but you've gained weight and maybe your top won't, all the buttons on your top won't button, or your jeans won't button, or whatever it is. Nothing is less attractive and will make you feel a lack of confidence more than something not fitting, because if you're constantly tugging and pulling or trying to adjust and fix what you're wearing, you're not going to be confident. Even if it looks good on you, you're not going to be confident. Everybody else may think you look amazing, but you're not going to be confident if it doesn't fit you appropriately. Second of all, confidence is all about your attitude. So it's about what you exude. And it goes back to the first thing I said, which is your clothes fitting. So if you feel good, you know that you look good, and which will lead to confidence, and you will be able to navigate anything with confidence. So those are my tips.
Okay, and great tips, great tips. And how do you, like personally, where does your confidence stem from?
So I will say that I have been a person that has been confident all my life. I've always been very ambitious and a go-getter, but of course, that doesn't come without failure. So I think just knowing that I have another opportunity to succeed on another day, that definitely motivates me and allows me to have the confidence to do the things that I do. I also love to just feel like I'm being myself. So if I'm wearing my favorite color or a favorite piece of jewelry, or just even the way I may be wearing my hair that day, that's where I get my confidence from. Just knowing that I'm being 100% authentic to myself and that I'm having another opportunity to live life to the fullest and do the things that I want to do.
That's great. And also too, that just made me think about like there are some clothes that or colors of clothing that I like that just make me happy and make me feel more confident. Not that I don't have any, but like it takes it to another level. Or, when you have to go to a meeting or do a presentation, there's just certain clothes or colors that make you pop and just make you stand out and that make you put your shoulders back some and be able to be confident.
Yeah, I totally agree. I know that when I'm wearing vibrant colors, pink is my favorite color, but when I'm wearing vibrant colors, I definitely feel my prettiest. So
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. So I just want to encourage the audience, like just find out what colors and what clothing fits you and makes you go to your next level of confidence so that you can feel good in your clothes, look good in your clothes, and walk boldly. Ariel, what inspires you the most?
what inspires me the most is definitely I would actually say my husband. He would probably not say that he's an inspiration, but he has a great sense of style, and a lot of the fashion trends he's always on them. So he consumes a lot of like sports, I don't know, sports TV shows. I guess that's what they're called. And of course, the men on there are always wearing suits, and then they have women that are dressed up as well. But their style is usually impeccable on those sports newscasting shows. So he likes to mimic that style a lot, and I get a lot of inspiration from him. Also, I will say that TV inspires me a lot as well. I love, love, love reality TV. So seeing a lot of the reality TV stars and what they're wearing, that definitely inspires me. And then also, I think I just have like this sense of youthfulness that is inside of me that inspires me on a daily basis, especially when it comes to fashion, where I always want to have a little bit of glitter, a little bit of pink, a little bit of fun, a little bit of sparkle. So many times, especially when I do pop-ups, pop-up shops, I will have on glitter sneakers or wear something very sparkly and bright just to add that little bit of playfulness to things. So those are all the things that inspire me.
Cool. I love that. For the woman who might be listening, or who knows, it might be a man as well. What word of advice or what word of style wisdom would you offer to them to help them feel their best self in their clothes?
I think definitely if you want to feel your best self in your clothes, you do definitely have to start out with a good foundation, which is your clothes fitting, but then also speaking positivity over yourself. So I know that may sound a little off-putting when it comes to clothing, but speaking positivity over yourself will allow you to say, hey, I look good in this. It's almost like having positive affirmation. It reminds me of the movie, what is the movie? Can't even remember the name, but where she says you are smart, you are kind.
The
So having
help.
the help, yeah. So having positive affirmations and knowing deep down inside that you're being your best self that day and that you want to feel good and you want to look good, that's really where like 90% of that feeling good is going to come from, is you telling yourself that you're going to feel good and look good. Many times we'll see people that are walking around, it's like, oh my gosh, that person looks absolutely insane, like why is she wearing a big bird suit? But she has talked herself up that morning and she has put on her yellow feathers and her yellow pumps and she is ready to go. So you gotta speak kindness over yourself and confidence over yourself and know that, hey, I look good and I feel good and today's gonna be a good day.
That's right. Today is going to be a good day. That is such good word of advice and encouragement to the listeners. Thank you so much for coming on today and just sharing your pearls of wisdom and into the fashion industry and how we can be confident even by what we wear. So thank you so much. Tell the audience where they can find you on social media.
So on social media, I am on all the major social media platforms, and I have the same handle for each one. So at Southern Throne. So that's Facebook, Pinterest, TikTok, Instagram, and that's all of them. Yeah. So I'm all of those platforms under at Southern Throne.
Okay, great. And I'll be sure to drop that in the show notes. And you guys go and check out southernthrone.com. She even has a rewards program. So as you buy, you can receive rewards and use those rewards to purchase something else. And she always has fun, beautiful quality clothing, in my opinion, on there. So be sure to check her out. All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hey, Overcomers. Thanks for tuning in. For more information, head on over to donnacherie.com. If you want to find me online, I'm at I am Donna Cherie on Instagram and Donna Cherie on Facebook. Don't forget to join the Overcomers Confidence Club Facebook community. And of course, if you love the show, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes.